Good morning. Welcome to Escoffier Online. My name is Chef Sear. Today I'm going to be making for you a filet en croute. The term en croute is not, it's just a fancy name that describes food that's been wrapped in a puff pastry. Well, you can do, fish, a cheese, a piece of pork. There's so many different things you can wrap, in a pastry dough. Today we're going to do a filet. Also, it's known as beef Wellington. When you do beef Wellington, you can do any kind of meat, but you want to get some kind of tender meat. For example, you can wrap a pork tenderloin, also like a beef tender or something tender. It's some cut of meat that's not too tough. Today I'm going to be using a fillet. I got this pre-cut fillet. You can also wrap the whole fillet, the whole tenderloin, if you want to do a party at home. You want to do something, for a lot of people. It's a lot easier to do it. You wrap the whole thing, you bake it, and then you slice it in whatever portion you want to do. Today I want to do this individually, because this is a nice way for you guys to learn this, because Valentine's Day is coming around the corner, and this could be a very nice fancy dinner you can make for your loved one, or you can try to do something nice. And this is something easy. You're gonna see that it's not complicated at all. It's gonna be step by step. You can do this in a couple of days, so you're gonna see that it's really simple. You can knock this out, and Chef Susie's gonna give you some ideas for some dessert too. On Thursday. So this could be a nice choice for your dinner, for your Valentine's Day dinner. I want to start by, searing the meat. It's very important that you give a nice color to the meat before you wrap it. And we're going to start by, seasoning our steak with some, I got some salt here. Okay, make sure it's nice and seasoned before it goes into the pan. Also some black pepper. Okay, now we're going to put some, I got my pan going here. I'm going to put a little oil. Just want very little. That's it. A couple tablespoons here. We want to get this pan really nice and hot, because we want to give a nice caramelization on the meat. This is going to help you to get a nice flavor. Also, it's going to seal the juices inside. And also, it won't taste like a steamed meat once it cooks inside the pastry, because it basically cooks with the steam that it generates, and it cooks really quick. It's very simple to do, and you're gonna see. I'm gonna take you through all the steps you need to do to prepare this. I'm also gonna make a nice sauce for you guys that those of you that have a beef stock or a sauce in the refrigerator. It's a nice way to use it. Okay, so we're gonna put this meat in the pan, and you want to do it for about 2 minutes on each side. And this is called the Maillard reaction. What's happening here is this was discovered by a French chemist back in 1912. There's a reaction that occurs between the amino acids and the meat. Once it reaches a temperature about 325 on the surface, this is when the meat starts to brown. And it just happens he was the one that discovered this. And ever since then, this is called the Maillard reaction. And you can cut the pieces of meat whatever size you want. Like I say, you can make them smaller or bigger. But this is a good size, about a 6-ounce portion. And you can also wrap the whole tenderloin. You want to, if you do the whole thing, make sure you cut the tail part off, because it's a skinny part. You only want to cook the pieces very uniform. That way it cooks even. You don't have one half that's overcooked and one half is not cooked enough. It smells really nice. You see, it's nice and calm brown. Now that it's nice and done, I'm going to take it off, because I got some smoke coming out here. And then we want to cool this off for before we wrap it with the pastry. We want to cool it off in the refrigerator for about half an hour or so. It's got to be nice and cold. Now we're going to do our mushrooms. I'm going to top this with some mushrooms. And I got some minced mushrooms I got here. You can use this in the food processor, or you can chop them by with a knife. It's a good way to practice knife skills. They got to be really nice and fine like this. And I'm going to put some butter in the pan. Okay. Got my mushrooms in there. Shallots. Little garlic. We want to sweat the mushrooms until some of the juices are giving off. And they got to be nice and dry when we take them out of here, because we're going to add a little wine. So we want to cook them for about 4 minutes here. They have a lot of liquid, so you're going to cook them until the liquid evaporates. Otherwise, you make them, take them out when they're still moist. It's going to soak up the puff pastry in there, and you don't want that. They should be nice and dry. Our duxelles should be nice and dry. Okay. And you can do this a day before. You can wrap the fillets a day before, keep them in the refrigerator, and then when you're ready to cook them, you know, about half an hour before you're going to use them, you bake them in the oven, and they're done. In the meantime, when you're baking the fillet, you can be making the sauce, which I'm going to show you how to do that later on too, as soon as we're done with this. If you use a pan with a wide bottom, it goes quicker because there's more surface area to like cook the mushrooms, so they're gonna the liquid is gonna evaporate much quicker. We want to add a little seasoning here, some salt. You can also, there's recipes out there that you can wrap it with some prosciutto, maybe some foie gras, some pate. There's all different kinds of recipes. Today I'm doing this the mushrooms with the shallots. I'm gonna add a little wine here. It's a little cheaper way to go, and again, it's really tasty though. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna add a little white wine, about a couple tablespoons. There you go, just to give it some more flavor. As you can see, it goes really quick. You're gonna end up with like a nice paste looking mushrooms because they're really fine, you know, chopped up. Once they're done, you want to let them cool off as well too. You want to, when you wrap the fillet in the mushrooms, they have to be really cold. You don't want to, because once you put the hot stuff in the pastry, it's going to start to get soft, and you don't want that. So it should be nice and cold before you start doing any wrapping. Okay, we're almost there. You see, there's no more liquid in the pan. It's nice and dry. This is what you want. Okay, we're going to take them off the flame now. Put them away so we can cool them off. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me along the way. Now that we have our mushrooms done, this is what it's going to look like. I made some ahead of time for you guys. This is going to be a nice paste. It's really cold, so I'm going to, since we have time is in our hands, we don't have a lot of time, I made some ahead of time. That way they're nice and cold. And I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping the fillet in the puff pastry. So I'm going to bring my fillet back out. I believe I have a question.
What kind of mushroom and what kind of meat was that?
Okay, the question was what kind of mushrooms and what kind of meat this is. This is a tenderloin fillet. It's a piece of tenderloin, and like I said before, you can use cheaper meat if you want, like a butt steak. There's some nice black Angus butt steaks that you can wrap, and they're still pretty tender. But this is the best piece of meat to do for this particular dish. So this is a tenderloin. Also the mushrooms, I use a regular white mushrooms. You can use portobellos if you want, or shiitake, a different kind of mushroom, but this work really well. They're cheaper as well. Okay, so I have my meat here, and I got some puff pastry squares here you can buy. Those of you that are doing the baking the pastry program, this is a good idea to use your pastry that you make, as well. And if you were going to like wrap the whole thing, you just get a big piece and leave the whole thing and wrap the whole tenderloin. But now that I'm going to do individual ones, I cut them up into small sections. So I want to put one of this in my cutting board, my bottom part. And like I said, you can do this a day before too. Doesn't have to be the same day. You can save some time. It's like, it's a process. It's not nothing to worry about. It's not that complicated to do. And you guys can do it. I know you can. Now we're going to top the meat with some of these mushrooms. And if they get, when you make them ahead of time, if they get too cold in the refrigerator, I take them out because there's butter in here. So it's going to, if they get cold, they're going to get a little hard. Don't worry about this. That's normal. I had them out for a few minutes while they're kind of room temperature, so they're nice and soft. But this is how they should be. Okay, that way you can put them on top. Very easy. Now I want to cover the steak. I want to stretch this. I got my rolling pin, but it's going to stretch it with my hands. Okay, and drop this over the top. I believe we have another question over here with someone. Okay, the guidelines to cook beef and to make sure it cooks through. Well, once we have to bake this. Don't forget that. And I'm gonna, once you're ready to bake this, you wanna set the oven at about 450, and you're still gonna check with a thermometer. I cooked some this morning, and they only took about 20 minutes to get them medium rare. So you can also still keep checking this. If you want it well done, you're gonna have to leave it longer. But it cooks really quick since it's steam trap inside. It cooks really quicker. Okay, so make sure that you guys are not, one starts to get brown on top. If you want a medium rare, medium, that's a good time to take them out. But you can still check the temperature with a thermometer. Make sure you do that too, just to be safe. It's okay. I'm gonna press this down. I'm gonna cut the edges. Okay. Nice and square. You can see it's a nice little bundle here. Now I'm gonna, pinch the edges with my fork here. You just go press down like this. The pastry is gonna stick together. It's gonna, create a pocket. They wanna open up, and also you wanna cut a little cut on top so the steam comes out and it doesn't puff up and it opens up when you bake it. As you can see, this is nice and easy. Here we go. I'm gonna have a nice. I'll put it back in this plate here. Also, you want to put some egg wash on this. That way, it's gonna, when you bake it, it's gonna be nice and golden on top. Take a nice pastry brush and put some egg wash on top. This is gonna give it a nice color when you bake it. As you can see, it's very easy to make. It's not complicated at all. Okay. And now you can refrigerate this, overnight if you want, until you're ready to bake them. Like I said before, you want to cut a little on top like this. That way, the steam, it's got somewhere to go and escape out of here. That way it doesn't pop top and opens up on you. And this is what it looks like. Now from this point, you can put them in the cooler and bake them tomorrow morning. When you bake them, put them in the sheet pan with some parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, just rub some butter on the sheet pan and you can bake them. They won't stick to the bottom because there's a lot of butter on the pastry. And if you put more butter, it's going to help to come loose when it's time to take them off the oven. So we're going to put this away here. Now we're going to make the sauce. I'm making a nice red wine reduction sauce with some veal demi they got over here. So I'm gonna put little shallots for this sauce in here. I'm gonna add some red wine here. We have a question over here with someone. Pardon me?
So I'm asking about what is generally preferred when we're talking about cooking.
Temperature?
Yeah, like rare or medium well.
Oh, okay, somebody wants to know what's preferred the temperature on the meat when you cook it. Medium, medium rare. Well, it's up to, depends. your taste. Some people like their meat, medium rare. Some like them well done. But to me, it's better to have a nice juicy steak, because when you cook it well done, I mean, all the juicy evaporates. It's just you get a dry piece of meat. But medium, it's nice. You have a medium. It's nice pink in the center, and it's safe to eat. But again, if you like your meat, a little more bloody, medium rare looks great. Myself, I like a medium rare, but it's personal preference. Whatever you like to cook the meat. Some people, they can't stand looking at pink in the meat, so they cook it all well done. It's just depends on each person. So I got some of the wine reducing here, and you can make more. I mean, I'm gonna have the recipe up with a video for you guys to make, and you can use a different kind of wine. I'm using a regular, just red wine blend. You can use a Marsala wine if you want to have a nice and sweeter sauce, but I'm just using a regular red wine, and I added some shallots too. You don't have to add shallots to the sauce if you don't want. I prefer to have little shallots in the sauce as well. And now that this is reducing down, I'm gonna add some demi here. And those of you that have some of the sauce already frozen from your assignment, this is a good way to use it. Okay. Some down here. Okay, we're going to bring this to reduce it by half. Okay. I got my little pastry here. I'm going to warm it up. This is going to go quick. Like I said, this veal demi-glace I had, and you guys can, this is a good way to use the sauce. You guys are like asking, what can we use the sauce? Well, this is a nice way that you guys can use your sauce from your assignments. I know you guys have it frozen somewhere. Take it out for Valentine's Day. Make a special dinner for your loved one, and this is something you guys can do very, very easy. We have another question over here. What was that? What was the difference between filet and croute and beef Wellington? Well, there's no difference. The difference is the cut of meat I'm using today. When you say beef Wellington, you should be using tenderloin, but it's not specified. And today I'm using a filet, a tenderloin, which is a tender piece of meat. You still put the same process in making it. You put the mushrooms, or you can do like say foie gras or wrap prosciutto on top, whatever. But it's the same thing basically. Now that the sauce is kind of reducing a little bit down, you see it gets really nice and thick right away. A little salt, a little pepper, and also want to add a little butter. When you add a little butter to the sauce, it's going to make it nice and shiny, you will see. Also, it's going to help thicken up the sauce a little more as well. See, it was very quick. If you prepare yourself ahead of time, you can also even make the sauce, the same day you prepare the beef Wellington, So, and you can just keep it in the refrigerator. The next day you warm it up. And I mean, this, as you all know, prepare yourself. When you mise en place, that's the key to cook anything. As you can see, I have everything ready to go. And the preparation process, it's real easy to put it together. That's the easy part. Restaurants will have, the same way. Some of you guys ask questions how it works, and to be honest with you, we don't just make this, to order. We make this for a special occasion like Valentine's Day. We have like a special menu that we do. There's only some places do like a few entrees in the menu, and this might be one of them. So you make a bunch of those things. Could be 50, depends on how many reservations you have. You have your sauce ahead of time made too, and you have this already done. So when the order comes in, all you got to do is throw it in the oven and bake it. So there's, sometimes, we get kind of a little scared because we don't know how things works. But again, if you prepare yourself, you can follow the steps like, I show you. It's very simple. There's nothing to be afraid of, cooking, For a chef, this is the easy part. All the other stuff that we have to do management-wise, that's why, it gives us some headaches. But this is the easy part for us. Okay, now you see the sauce is nice and shiny, nice and golden brown color. So we're gonna, plate this the filet now. Okay, I'm using this big nice plate. Here I have some purple potatoes. Some of you guys probably seen them before. They're just regular potatoes, but they're purple. They taste like a potato the same way, except they're really nice and colorful. This is a nice way to present your dishes. And I got some vegetables I julienne, I blanch, and I'm just gonna plate them really nice for you here. And this is what it looks like when it's done. You know, it's nice and with the egg wash, nice and golden brown on top, and it smells really wonderful. We want to put some of the sauce on the bottom of the plate here. Or you can put it on the side over the top. I want to put it on the bottom. Just whatever you want to do. Okay. Then I'm going to set my just like that. It's okay, it's going to come out to the size. Now you want to put some of these nice vegetables here. I'm going to put some of these potato cubes here as well. And you can do whatever you want. I mean, whatever, you know, you have taste for. It doesn't have to be potatoes. You can do a rice or a couscous, you know, a little side of pasta with there, whatever you want. It's just I kind of found these potatoes at the store this morning. I'm like, yeah, they look nice. Nice and colorful for your presentation dish. Okay. Nice little dices here. As you can see, it was very easy to do. I'm gonna put so, as you can see, very simple, nice and colorful dish, and you guys can make this at home. I know you can. All of you guys, when I say your assignments, you guys do a wonderful job. And you guys, you know, every day I see you guys get better and better, which is, you know, what we want. And I'm really proud of all of you guys for being here this morning. I'm going to have the recipe, you know, along with the video. You guys can look at, and you already saw how it gets done. So it's really nothing to be afraid of for making this nice and easy, you know, dish, which is, I know you guys can do it. And I want to thank you again for being here this morning with me. I'll see you next week for another different topic. Take care of yourself.